asset of any organization is your people. And that's your fans, that's your staff, that's your players.
Why did you fire Becky? No more bullshit. Why did you fire Becky?
Out of all the soccer coaches in contention to be the next leader of the USMNT, none are as polarizing as Jesse Marsch. Myself and others love his American spirit and don't care if he comes off as cringy to the English media. We see that he's an American who played his entire career in Major League Soccer, yet somehow, someway, worked his way up the ranks to coach in the highest leagues in Europe, and we find that inspiring. Others just want his teams to play better and win, which unfortunately didn't happen enough while at Leeds or RB Leipzig. Because of the expectations placed on this current U.S. men's national team heading into 2026, a World Cup they are hosting, and because of who he is and the animosity he is already facing, if Jesse Marsch is named the next head coach of the USMNT, he will be under more pressure than any U.S. coach before him. But the good news is that this pressure from the fans would be nothing new to him.
Oh boy. I'm gonna need a Red Bull for this one. All right, so let's go back 10 years. 2013 MLS season. New York Red Bulls club legend Mike Petke is named the new head coach. A move that virtually all the fans are in favor of. And yes, while it is his first true head coaching job, to be fair, he was an assistant for a couple years in the Hans Baca era.
The story of Red Bull New York, quite frankly, is a sad one. Unless you're a DC or NYCFC fan, then you probably think it's a quite happy story. From year one, back when they were the Metro Stars, this team had some bad juju surrounding it. In their first ever home game against the New England Revolution, in the dying moments of a scoreless match, Nikola Kurikula put the ball in his own net, a moment of absolute calamity. Of course, it's just one own goal. It's not like this moment doomed the team forever. That is, unless you believe in curses. And after witnessing heartbreak after heartbreak, year after year, after year, after year, after year, after year. Yeah, you know what, actually, the curse of Kurikula seems pretty legit now. But now, it's 2013. Red Bulls already have a decent core with guys like Thierry Henry, Tim Cahill, Dax McCarty, and Luis Robles, but the team's been knocked out of the quarterfinals and the playoffs for 3 straight seasons. And while they've been good during the season, many believe they should be better.
Now this team was good. Everyone could see that. But the question was, with a first-year manager, could they be great? Apparently they could.
Alright, listen, if you're still wondering if this video's about Jesse Marsch, it is, okay? I just gotta build some backstory. I'm getting to it.
Despite getting off to a slow start with no wins in their first 4 matches, New York quickly turned it around. In the second half of the season, they lost only 3 times and finished the year with a 8-game unbeaten run. The 2013 Red Bulls set team records for points, goals scored, and goal differential, and won its first major trophy in the Supporter Shield. Yeah, it took 18 seasons, but my God, they actually did it. They actually won something. And they were led by club legend Mike Petke. Now, unfortunately, the Red Bulls didn't get their happy Hollywood ending, as the Red Bulls went full Red Bull when they were upset in the quarterfinals against the Houston Dynamo in extra time. The 2014 squad didn't have quite the same success as 2013, but still finished a respectable 4th place in the Eastern Conference, and again scored the most goals in the East with 55 in 34 matches. In the playoffs, New York knocked off defending MLS Cup champ Sporting Kansas City in the Eastern Conference play-in game, and then went on to upset the #1 seed and biggest rival, DC United. This was the first time Red Bull had ever eliminated DC in the playoffs. In the conference finals, and what ended up being Thierry Henry's final matches as a professional, the Red Bulls fell to the New England Revolution in yet another heartbreak.
But let's look at the positives here, because in 2 years, under the leadership of Mike Petke, this team has won a Supporters Shield. They finally got over the conference semifinal hump, and they finally vanquished their foes, their rivals in DC United in the playoffs for the first time. Like, that already qualifies as best coach in this team's sorry-ass history. Like, this is serious progress, and all of a sudden, MLS Cup doesn't seem like this impossible dream that'll never be accomplished, because they are close now. They are on the verge of reaching the promised land, and Mike Petke, an icon of the team and beloved as a coach, is gonna lead them there. It is the perfect story. But then in a move that shocked everyone around MLS, Mike Petke was fired by a guy that has been employed with Red Bull New York for 2 weeks.
Ali Curtis had a brief career as a player in MLS in the early 2000s. Then, after some time away, in 2007, Curtis returned to MLS and began working in the league office in a number of different roles, but most notably as Senior Director of Player Relations and Competition. In December 2014, he was hired as Sporting Director of the New York Red Bulls. And if his goal was to make a splash early on, well, he definitely did that. Hell, it was more of a tidal wave than just a splash. To say New York fans were pissed off at the firing of the best coach they've ever had is an understatement. And it's not like they were replacing him with Sir Alex Ferguson. No, instead they bring in Jesse Marsch. And not the Jesse Marsch who won multiple Austrian Bundesliga titles and who also managed in the German Bundesliga and Premier League. No, this was before all of that. This was the Jesse Marsch who had 1 year of head coaching experience for an expansion Montreal Impact side in 2012 that missed the playoffs. So how'd they welcome in Jesse Marsch? With a town hall meeting with the Red Bull supporters. And from what I understand, this was not televised. There were limited media credentialed reporters there, or if they were there, they weren't working. The footage that I have is from a fan from a single location. I will leave a link to the entire video in the description, and you will want to check that out after this because it gets spicy.
These guys up here, they know what you guys mean to the team.
Yeah, Petke knew.
Hang on a second.
Don't know shit.
Hang on a second.
You fire best coach. What the hell's wrong
Hang
with
on a
you?
second.
2 years of success and you fire
These
him?
guys, you're gonna get a chance. You're gonna get a chance when you get to the mic.
You know, he was a good coach for our team at the end of the day.
Best ever.
Don't even fucking say his name.
We're looking to take this club to a new.
Yeah, so my name's Alan. I've been a season ticket holder since '09 when I moved to New York. My question for anyone who'll take it, I mean, Petke got fired after the 2 best years in our history. How long does the new guy have to win MLS Cup before he gets shit canned?
My name is Robert Kovacs. I've been a season ticket holder for 2 years. This would have been my 3rd year. Bottom line, you know, you have whatever your reasons are for whatever you want to do. We don't believe them. So we don't want to be part of it. So why won't you give me a refund on my deposit on season tickets? Period, end of story, because I don't want to be part of it. Thanks.
We're putting the club first. And every decision we make, everything that we do has to put
Your
the club
career first.
I just imagine Jesse Marsch sitting there, listening to the fans rip apart the guy that hired him. And he's just got to be thinking like, oh God, what did I get myself into? But now we're 17 minutes in and it's time. Let's hear what Jesse Marsch has to say.
I know how privileged I am to be the coach of this team. I'm excited to be here. I know I have a huge challenge ahead of me, all right?
You got 1 year.
Fatality.
However, you know what? I'll take whatever I can get. 4 years of Thierry Henry, I loved watching it as much as you guys did. But I think we can all understand that this needs to take a little bit of a shift, right? Away from the superstars and more into an identity of a group of guys who's ready to give everything they have for each other.
Yeah, that's what Mike Petke was. No offense to you, but that's what he was.
Listen, this is the first time I feel like there's a collective of leadership in this organization of competence and hard work ethic. That doesn't mean we have all the answers, and I'm not trying to say anything about anybody in the past. okay? But I feel strongly that we are going to be able to implement a direction that's going to take this club to a new plateau. And ultimately, what's going to matter is, what are the results? What are the results, okay? If we lose, you're going to hate me. You're going to hate me. If we win, maybe you'll learn to put up with me, okay? But in the end, let's make sure that we give Luis and this team a chance to go out on the field, succeed, and compete. Because that's what this is. It's about these guys and the opportunity to show what they have and show the character of what this club is.
You have our support. Hang on a second. We have someone with a microphone. Hang on a second.
And they say that fans don't care, that there's no pressure in MLS. Pfft, get out of here with that. And do I think all the fans were sold with what he had to say? Hell no. Of course not. But I mean, like, how could they? The club just got rid of Mike Petke for a guy that was below average with Montreal Impact? Like, it doesn't add up.
Because it wasn't just Mike Petke leaving. Thierry Henry was also gone. Tim Cahill was also rumored to be leaving, which he eventually did. And there wasn't a big superstar lined up to replace either of them. Now, saying things like, oh, we want to focus on the youth academies and developing talent from within, sure, that sounds great today, but in 2015, that wasn't really the way to win an MLS yet. Also, don't forget, NYCFC were just a few years away from kicking off. Red Bull now had competition within their own market, and fans of the team started jumping ship. Even though he was in his first year, Jesse Marsch had the most pressure of any coach in this league. He probably had more pressure than any first-year coach in this league's history. The Red Bull supporters were not going to wait for him to win. He needed to succeed from day one. And despite being given a near impossible task with all of the cards stacked against him, Jesse Marsch delivered. Just like Mike Petke did in his first season, Jesse Marsch guided Red Bull to a supporter shield in 2015, even managing to one-up Petke's 2013 numbers with one more win and one more total point, with 60. He even managed more goals and a slightly higher goal differential, and remember, this was post-Thierry Henry. In the playoffs, Red Bull again got the best of DC in the conference semis, setting up a date with the Columbus Crew in the conference final. It didn't go well. A 2-0 loss on the road in the first leg was too much to overcome, and Red Bull once again fell short of their goal. The Jesse Marsch era in New York was a really fun one. Another first-place finish in the East in 2016, an appearance in the US Open Cup final in 2017, a game they would ultimately lose, and a run to the semifinals in the 2018 CONCACAF Champions League, a run that included topping Liga MX side Tijuana in the quarters. In 2018, halfway through the season, Jesse Marsch essentially got a promotion from within Red Bull, and he moved across the Atlantic to Austria to lead Red Bull Salzburg. The 2018 Red Bulls were now led by Chris Armas and would go on to win the Supporters' Shield, but because Jesse was there for half the season, we'll give him half the credit for that shield. I don't blame the Red Bull supporters at all for being livid when they found out Petke was fired. And I don't blame them at all for being skeptical of when Jesse Marsch was hired. But there was a clear transition of philosophy on how to run this team starting in 2015. Build from within. And Jesse Marsch helped usher in this new era of Red Bull. In Jesse's 3.5 years in New York, it's safe to say that he won over that market. In September of 2015, while still in his first season as head coach, the Red Bulls held another town hall meeting. And just look at the difference in reception. Sure, there were still some people that were concerned, but nothing compared to the first time.
And if we look back at that explosive town hall meeting, I mean, Jesse Marsch kind of accomplished everything he said he was gonna. I mean, in just a few years, the academy became arguably the best in MLS, developing a lot of stable MLS starters, including some guy named Tyler Adams, which, I mean, if you never heard of him, he's kind of a big deal. Also, the team was always, like, week in and week out, always one of the most entertaining products in all of MLS. Like, this team played some beautiful attacking soccer. But for all of the amazing things that Jesse Marsch accomplished with this team, you still have to mention he still never won an MLS Cup with this team. And maybe if he sticks around a little bit longer, it's a different story. Maybe they don't give up 3 goals to Atlanta in the first leg of the 2018 Conference Finals. Maybe they win it all in 2019. We'll never know. It's true. Jesse Marsch might be the hottest name in American soccer coaching right now, but we must never forget when Red Bull New York fans wanted to kill him.